Well, this one took a while. Honestly, guys, when it comes to my day job as well as everybody messaging me or me going to a lot of other places, I barely had enough time to really get this thing done. Because how is it that silent pictures go from 10 minutes long in the very beginning of the 20th century, then a decade later, they're about 3 to 7 hours long? Seriously, this movie was a little bit, no, wait, it was definitely way too long. Les Vampires. So Les Vampires, otherwise known as The Vampires, is a French film that came out in 1915 along with the mother of all hangovers. And in this one, it kind of surprised me as immediately when I started watching this movie, because for a second when you think of a movie called The Vampires, you would think that it would be a horror movie about vampires. But no, apparently it's not that at all. As a matter of fact, there are no vampires in this movie. It's actually more of a secret society that they call themselves the Vampires, and we're following this character named Felipe, who is a detective slash journalist who is trying to find the vampires, find this secret society, and and solve the mystery. Basically, this movie is a 7-hour long mystery, and well, I can't really say that it is called a movie. It's more of as the very first TV show, because the movie is separated in chapters. At least I can really just call them episodes. But anyway, with every single chapter or episode, you have this individual story that would basically thicken the plot and also the creative details on how Felipe is going to find this secret society. Now, when you're going to make a mystery, especially when it comes to the silent film era, we don't exactly have a lot of dialogue to really figure it out, and not to mention the screen itself is not going to show a whole lot because it's a silent picture. This came out like 100 years ago, so it's not like we're going to see perfect quality or anything. You gotta choose the correct words to scroll on the screen and watch the actions of our characters getting through the story. And quite honestly, I find something very impressive about every single episode is because the vampires are trying to throw Felipe off the case or just trying to threaten him or whatsoever, and basically trying to sneak their way around him to try and escape. Whereas Felipe, on one hand, you could see his part of the story and how he outsmarts them as well. So I will say the creativity behind the actions is very impressive. And another thing that really impressed me about this movie is definitely the stunt work. Seriously, the stunt work in this movie is insane. Because in the very first episode, you would notice one of the members of the vampires is like walking along the top of this roof, and then he starts climbing down the drain pipe. No camera cut, no nothing. We watch him climb all the way down, all the way to the ground, and I'm just sitting here thinking, that's about 30 and 35 feet. If you would have fallen, that would have been seriously painful. But so I will admit the stunt work in this movie is also impressive. As well, and also there is another moment where you see a guy walking along the wall, and then he just start single-handedly crawling up the wall all the way to the very top. So I will admit the stunt work in this movie is insanely impressive. As well as the mystery itself, it's just getting in there, as well as he has spies in the vampires, and the vampires are also trying to make spies in Felipe's corner. It's just a back and forth, absolute big mystery that does keep you engaged. However, there is one thing that this movie does fail at, and it's basically its biggest weakness, and it is the runtime. Seriously, 7 hours long. I mean, would any of you guys sit through a 7-hour long movie? Because that is this movie's biggest weakness. And quite honestly, for it to be extended out the way it is just makes you lose your interest with every single episode that passes by. Because with the first episode, as that one ends, you're just thinking, ooh, the plot is thickening. And then the second episode happens, and you're like, okay, the plot is thickening even more. And then the third episode's coming along, the plot is thickening, And then the fourth episode comes along, dude, when are we gonna get somewhere? That's the major problem with this movie, and quite honestly, I think it would have been a whole lot better had this movie been like 3 hours long. That would have made this movie a lot more bearable instead of us going through all these stories just to get to a certain point. So I will say Les Vampires is definitely a very well-filmed and impressive stunt work, as well as a great mystery of a film, but the problem that this movie has is definitely its runtime, and so If you guys are really interested in silent films and you can watch them all day and not have a complaint about it, this is probably a movie that you would definitely check out. But as for me, I would say no one's gonna really bother you if you skip it. So guys, Les Vampires, have you seen it? What did you think of it? Whatever you thought, comment them down below. Also, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share my videos as much as possible so I can finally get monetized so I can challenge other reviewers of this same exact challenge. Yeah, I'm like at the 4th movie in, and it took me days just to get this one done. Man, this is gonna be harder than I thought. But anyway, I'll see you in the next video.